Lina, and Lina versus Phoenix, very good, because you get all that attack speed from Fiery Soul, your range is super high, so that's going to hurt Phoenix a lot here.
Yeah, great pick for sure. It's still open-ended whether or not the Earthshaker will go to the offlane for Phobos, or if that's more likely to be the FNG hero. I really hyped up the FNG Earthshaker, and I think that's the likely choice.
Honestly, they haven't had FNG playing Earthshaker much at this tournament. I know he's done it in the past, but very likely they've been playing a lot of CM for him, which is why it's the 5th round ban there for EHOME. He's played a lot of CM. He's played an occasional tree, but honestly, I've watched him play like 4 games of CM. Like, he does not play Earthshaker very much, at least at this tournament.
So EHOME's definitely reading this as an offlane Earthshaker for Phobos.
I think so. Phobos, whenever I see Earthshaker at this tournament, I think Earthshaker is going to Phobos for sure, but they definitely could change it up. Could be FNG. But if you have both an Earthshaker and a Shadow Shaman as a support duo, you're going to be really greedy on 2 heroes that need farm, and I think that's dangerous to do anyways. So I would rather them do Earthshaker offlane, I guess. I guess their carries, their carries still fine, because Lina, Gyro versus Razor, Storm, maybe not the best.
Okay, well, CTY will probably take that Storm headed to the mid lane, so that opens up a safe lane, or position 1 rather, Razor. I guess not necessarily the safe lane, though. Probably not an aggro try this go-round. Razor, Winter Wyvern, Rubik is definitely not the most intimidating of try lanes. So what does VP do with this final pick? Crystal Maiden's been banned out. What do they grab for FNG, assuming the Shaker goes for Phobos?
They need some stun duration.
5 seconds remaining.
Preferably against the Storm Spirit.
Should they just go Lion here? Get the best of both worlds? You've got both the ults, and then you've got both the hexes, Shadow Shaman, Lina, and Lion?
It's maybe too many stuns. I think that would be the ultimate greed lineup.
Yeah, kind of. Exactly. They all need so much farm.
But Earthshaker in the offlane is kind of anti-greed if you think about it. Like, yeah, you still need Blink, but because he's in offlane, you're not going as hard into the late game with a core in the offlane, so maybe something like that is worth it. But they need something to help set up on Storm Spirit, I feel. Razor, Winter Wyvern, Rubik. Yeah. Razor's a bit hard to deal with in their team. I think they would have loved to have Crystal Maiden in this game. Like, all 4 of their heroes on their team just really need mana. They needed something sacrificial that still has some disables. It would have been a good pick for them, I think. So maybe they're a little unsure what to do. But, I mean, they can already kill Storm. They can do Fissure into Lina combos, because Lina will be a core. They've got Shadow Shaman into Lina combos. Even Gyro's fairly decent against Storm. Like, Shadow Shaman's not a terrible support versus Storm. It's not great, but it's pretty good.
What else I'm just really even playing?
I don't think it's a tree game because there's lots of damage sources like Storm Spirit, Remnant.
Whoa!
And, okay, so Lina support, I guess.
Complete change of pace.
And she is gonna play the Gyrocopter unless they put it on DK Phobos instead, and he does a safe lane. G will take the Gyrocopter, and so I guess they just weren't happy with the Storm being there. They've lost a couple games against the Storm Spirit already this tournament, and they just know that trying to do Lina core versus Storm is just so dangerous, because as soon as the Storm gets ahead, it's just so tough for the Lina to get kills. So FNG playing the Shadow Shaman, Lil on the Lina, and DK Phobos still taking the Earthshaker.
Much different style from Virtus Pro, but I like this. Anti-Mage always good against the Storm, especially as he gets more mana. The mana voids just do that much more, and
he's pretty good against Phoenix too, I think, because he can generally always blink and go to the egg if he really needs to commit to the kill. But I don't think VP wanted to do this personally. Every single game I've seen, they played Shadow Shaman on Lil, and I think they're put into a corner where they said we need a Storm Spirit counter and we have to pick one. So because of that, they're alternating their typical heroes. I'm sure they can handle the other heroes, but maybe it's not exactly what they want, and they're going to have a very, very poor Shadow Shaman this game. So hopefully he can make that work.
Okay, there we go. A little bug with my mini-map there. Okay, we're all set. Yeah, looks like an interesting draft on both sides. This is the final heat of this stream, guys. A big series for EHOME in particular. Virtus Pro certainly would like a win here, but EHOME are the ones that really need it. They need to go at least 1-1 in this series. A 2-0 would be fantastic from their perspective. Have fun, says Lil. Oh, I love the good man.
He says that every time. Usually he puts more A's and more U's in that, so he's maybe tilted. You never know.
You never know. You know, Phobos is one of the most interesting players in the International because he's one of the older players. I think he's 26 or 27.
Yes.
And he's actually a programmer for Na'Vi. He's been really involved in the Dota scene for a long time, but the last couple years he's been doing more back-end work with supporting the team, developing their website, and all this kind of stuff. So he's been really around, but his string of competitive history in recent times is actually kind of light. So he's He sort of feels like a newcomer to some people, but he really isn't. He's one of those OGs that's been around forever.
That's pretty cool, too, because he's been playing really well.
Yeah, it's great to see an old school player like that come back and have a chance at doing well in the international. Right now, they're happily seated in the top 4, and that means they'll be starting in the upper bracket of the main event.
So VP did spot the observer ward place for EHOME here. They got their ward down just a bit sooner, so they saw the ward go down there. They don't have any sentries to start off, so they won't be able to kill it, but at least they know where the vision is, and that's actually a lot of the battle for it. Look, I thought that was the players for some reason. That's a lot of the battle for the supports. That way they know that whether or not they need to use the smoke to gank mid. Like during daytime, they'll have to use the smoke because vision range is still so high, but during nighttime they can skip the smoke and just go for the regular gank.
All right, so let's see how these lanes settle down here. Looks like a 2-2-1 coming out of EHOME. DDC will be mid on the Winter Wyvern for now, using that Arctic Burn to harass back G out of the gate. Lanham
taking some damage here. He actually might go down, but he gets the mana burn on Illidan. Illidan actually taking some right click.
Yeah, a lot of aggression early on here. So mid lane turning into a dual lane as well as Lil's already rotated up in this off lane. Rubik as well as Phoenix. I thought that was the Shadow Shaman for a second there. I don't know why that Rubik skin threw me off. Interesting lane setups here from both sides. So it's a safe lane Razor versus the off lane Earthshaker.
It's pretty consistent that people abuse VP in this way, where they do pick the Earthshaker. They anticipate it being off lane, especially when they see the hero pick, and they just put pretty much any typical 1v1 hero against it, and it becomes really tough for DK Phobos here. Like, he can still last hit well with Enchant Totem. That's pretty cool. It's like a free last hit every 5 seconds. But other than that, his ability to harass his opponent is not there. So usually he gets worked out in that way.
CTY caught by an LSA in the mid lane. Rocket Barrage does some decent damage. The only level 1, not enough for a kill on CTY. Will force him to eat that salve. He's already chewed through one of his shared tangos. Not that close to the bottle. So this is turning into kind of a rocky lane experience for him, as Lil is still just lingering around here and constantly harassing him.
Yeah, just completely zoned out of experience range, so less creeps for him. Sitting at, not even 3 yet. Lanham also shifting. They also dewarded that Observer Ward, so even less vision now for CTY makes things even scarier, because he doesn't always have the vision to see the supports approaching.
Yeah, absolutely. And once DK Phobos gets some more experience, it's always scary when an Earthshaker can sit in fog, hit you with a fissure, and then that can set up for G to maybe connect with some cooldowns, get the Rocket Barrage going, even queue up a homing missile, and that can force Storm to use his ultimate in a slightly different manner and make sure he's always got some available to get rid of that homing missile.
In the safe lane here, Illidan's up to 8 last hits. A little bit of harass on FNG. He's actually in trouble here. Uses the Shackle on DDC, and RTK with the dive is able to get in position for that. One of the most dangerous things about Phoenix is that at any point he can position himself in his advantage. He does lose 25 or 15% of his HP by doing this dive, but in a situation like that where DDC alone puts him out of position, man, that's a super kill.
Yep. So now Lanham rotating towards the mid lane with Lil nearby. They're just kind of duking it out in the jungle. Not even leeching XP from mid, both at a very comparable amount of experience right now. G actually going for a homing missile-based build here, Purge. He's doing a 1-2-1. This is much different. Following suit with the mid gyrocopter, which we have not seen a lot.
I kind of like this, because if Storm Spirit's not level 6, you're going to be able to super harass him, because at the moment it's a 250 damage nuke at maximum damage. The minimum is 50, and I don't think it takes very long for the damage to hit full there. So he's just going to continuously spam these missiles on him. He's going to Bottle Crow to do this, I believe, and that's just going to keep C2I fairly low.
Yeah,
and put him in a good spot. He doesn't want to do it now because he can just stand next to the creep waves. But
ROTK almost goes down up top, but Illidan doesn't want to commit for it. The Arctic Burn enough to scare him back, and he will blink defensively. But having a pretty good time in this safe lane, staying very aggressive on this dual off lane here from EHOME. But yeah, the rocket or the homing missile build is really difficult to deal with.
Kill top. DDC might go down.
Oh yeah, here we go. Shackle.
Oh, it's gonna be close.
Should be a kill. Illidan.
He's not.
Does he commit for it?
Big save.
The Fire Spirits.
FNG committing. Will he get the attack off? He doesn't.
Oh, no.
My gosh, that was so close. I knew that as soon as the Fire Spirits hit Anti-Mage, he wasn't going to get an extra attack in, and he even had Cold Embrace there. Well, that was from the last kill. I think he leveled up, but what an outplay. That was. I saw the blood as well from VP's perspective, but they just didn't quite have the damage. They almost got a double kill too, but they both got out.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's part of the power of the Phoenix there. The Fire Spirits do work against the Anti-Mage. So I wanted to comment on this Winter Wyvern. I noticed he put an extra point in the Arctic Burn, and DDC is the Winter Wyvern player that does this consistently. He maxes out Arctic Burn, and he is really the only top-tier competitive player that does this build. Most Winter Wyverns just go for that value point, but and put the points in the Splinter Blast. But he's committed to that low cooldown on being able to fly over the trees.
Yeah, it kind of comes down to how you play the hero, I think. If you go for Splinter Blast, you can counter push a lot. If you get more Arctic Burn here, you increase the slow amount, and most importantly, the cooldown goes down massively. And the range goes up a lot too, so it kind of gives you more safety to use Arctic Burn, really. And he can harass Illidan a bit more often with it. So as he gets more and more levels, his harass goes up, his range goes up, but his AoE is a bit poorer. And I guess the AoE is a bit unimportant in this game, if you think about it. Due to, like, I don't know, I feel like VP isn't going to group that much with the heroes they have. They blink forward, though, almost going for the body block on DDC. Yeah, because he missed that, no kill.
All right. Noble effort from VP, but their two supports will rotate back. They're paying it out as if they want to go for another attempt here. FNG still lingering nearby. He's got level 2 Shackles, or pardon me, level 2 Ether Shock at the ready. Shackles as well.
Their Observer Ward is just watching these supports, though. They know where they are at all times. And they still aren't able to get in front.
Though it is just about to expire here, so that luxury will no longer be available for EHOME. Still a great stool.
Will they dive this? I don't. This looks bad.
Fire so many spirits. Yeah, just one hits on FNG, and they will reset things. So G, he's just moved into the jungle. He's stacking up all these camps here, giving CTY a lot of space now.
Interesting. He's even going to use Call Up for this. He only has 1 level in Flax, so I think he does have to do this. Maybe he's fearing the support gank to mid. Looks like Rubik's been off the map for a long time. He's still only level 2. So it probably seems to his perspective that Rubik is just waiting to set that up, because a Storm plus a Rubik is a very, very easy gyro kill. Much safer for him just to go to the jungle, even against top tier players who can recognize that.
Yeah. Okay, so not too bad for G. Quite a good CS score right now, and actually farming ahead of the Storm Spirit, given that he's been able to stack this up. Looks like still a double stack here at this hard camp, or a medium camp rather.
There's a lot of stacks, actually.
CTY just moves into the jungle now. Oh yeah, they've got a double stack here.
And anything he doesn't kill will eventually get farmed by either Lina or Anti-Mage of the Battle Fury, so he's going to be completely fine with this. Maybe even Earthshaker as well. Earthshaker's actually doing pretty well. He's not remaining competitive with the Razor, but considering the matchup, he's got 19 or 20 CS now versus Razor's 37. I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah, and the lack of rotations down this way means he's been able to get a lot of experience. He's almost level 7 and closing in on that Soul Ring. So all things considered, Phobos having a good time. Anti-Mage definitely not farming as well as he would like. Only 29 last hits. Not bad, but also not great.
And that's what happens against Phoenix. Your attack speed's reduced so much that you have to hard commit on one last hit, and you have to time it like 2 seconds in advance. It's very difficult. It'll be better once he gets treads, but for now, his attack speed's too low.
The net worth on this Shadow Shaman right now, Purge, 250. I felt like that needed to be a bug. That is just so unbelievably low.
That's FNG, man. Yeah. I don't think his Observer Ward got spotted, by the way. This Observer Ward was just slightly out of range on the left side. So I think he approached slightly like this and dropped it down.
Yep.
So I think he's going to get away with that. Usually those get punished because someone's already got the ward up, but they went for the safe ward on the left side. This may be obvious to you guys at lower skill levels, but almost nobody places this one at high levels because it doesn't give you the appropriate vision. They're going to find CTY. Is this going to matter? Called out. Ooh, Light Strike almost landing.
Oh, he's actually did clip him, but they won't be able to follow up. Kind of a close call. You see him drawing on the mini-map there. Enemies inbound.
G's also given up on his max homing missile build, and I think it's good that he stopped on that, because at this point, Storm Spirit can easily dodge that. It's not going to get him any more value in the mid lane, and in fact, I don't really think it did that much anyways. It did do some damage to CTY and zone him a bit, but...
It would have been better to go with that build and then try to combo it with either the Lina or the Shadow Shaman to hit him with that first stun and then go for kills that way.
It's so hard. It takes so long for it to come off the ground and eventually hit. They would need 2 extra stuns, I feel, for it to do the 3rd stun. Yeah. So, and I don't think Storm is going to fall for it if he ends up casting it first, let the missile hit him, and then have a support be around.
Yeah.
It's just, in most cases, it's just safer to take the damage if you don't know where the supports is. So I'm not too surprised. I mean, this might be a big issue later in the game, but they have like the perfect heroes for it. They have DDC, a Winter Wyvern that gets a lot of levels of Arctic Burn, so his range is going to be really high. He can deal with the missile. Storm is a ranged attack. Razor is a ranged attack. Rubik is a ranged attack. And they have a Phoenix. It's 5 ranged heroes. So these skill points, while it does give him some lane advantage, he could have more flat cannons. He could have more rocket barrage. He could have more stat levels. Any of that is probably better scaling into the mid game than what he's got. On the bright side, the cooldown is lower, but his mana pool is not what it used to be, and I don't know if he can afford that extra spam.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Another one of these carries that does have some mana issues. EHOME are off to a pretty good start this game, though, holding on to a 2,000 net worth lead. Even though VP have doing a good job stacking their jungle, EHOME have been doing the same. Lots of stacks here that CTY has been able to clear out. Lanham now halfway through level 4, and this Razor, he's almost level 9. He'll go for the mech, already has the headdress.
I almost wish he got a Midas here. Because his lane has been so passive. I mean, obviously he did have some slight contests from the Earthshaker, so getting the Midas would have given Earthshaker potential to go for the kill there, but...
Still, this feels like it would have been a good opportunity.
But at the same time, he's against an anti-mage. Does he really want to go late against an anti-mage? He probably doesn't, especially as a Razor. He's better off just going for the early game build, taking towers, and trying to get gold advantage that way, and pressuring him.
Yep. AM picks up his power treads now. Ring of Health, just beginning that slow quest towards his Battle Fury. ROTK also level 6 on the Phoenix, so Supernova's here. Rather underwhelming at level 1, but still some potential to secure kills if VP get aggressive. Now a smoke from Virtus Pro, Phobos, G, and FNG rotating into the jungle. Looks like they're hoping for the storm. Oh, did they go for the
distracts them. Oh, they got way too distracted from that.
Oh, no. That's unfortunate. Breaks the smoke, and Storm just heads back to safety. Yang also just TPs out.
That's just a really good place for Storm or any other farmer to be during that time period, because there's just a little sliver of vision there. And any time that he casted Remnant, he would have been able to see outside of it, so... Yep. Plus the courier was there, also giving him vision. He also had an observer ward kind of close by. So they didn't get the kill, but they also did put an observer ward down from safety. So that is pretty good for them. They accomplished 2 things with that smoke instead of just 1. And though they didn't get the kill, they still get the ward down. So it's not the worst.
Now EHOME, they try smoke of their own. 3 rotating up top on the backside of ROTK. Lanham, smoke will get broken. They go straight in. Telekinesis, Winter's Curse as well. Anti-Mage in a lot of trouble. They can't quite finish him off, but the Arctic Burn will do it. Or maybe it was just the DOT from ROTK. ROTK in some trouble, but he will live through the call down. DDC probably going to go down next. Here's a beautiful cold embrace, but not quite enough to finish him off. The Echo Slam will do it. Supernova stuns on 2, sets up for CTY, who's now rotated up. They'll finish off the Gyrocopter. Lina caught by some... Nope, not the Fiery Soul, just the Sun Ray. They're still going to get her, though.
Good stun attempt, but it's so hard to stun where the storm's going. You just have to predict it perfectly. Yeah, some damage being done to ROTK, but he's got an Urn and a 1. He's completely fine. Good try by VP. I mean, the Gyro got 2 heroes. But
it was a 3 for 3, so pretty much a break even there.
And they smoked for that, but they also lost their Anti-Mage and their Gyro, their 2 most important farm heroes. And Storm got out of there with 2 kills, and he still has a lot of CS. So I don't think that was as a whole good for VP, but they did exchange.
Yeah. CTY now in good shape, number 1 on the net worth chart. He's got the Soul Ring, looks like 1,000 gold in the bank. Probably just a Bloodstone build for him to get things started. In the mid lane, Lanham in some trouble, but does survive through telekinesis.
I don't know if he can go Bloodstone first this game, because he needs to deal with an Anti-Mage. And if he goes Bloodstone, it not only gives him a bigger mana pool that Anti-Mage can ult into, but it also limits his ability to just do an Orchid kill. So I feel like Orchid has to be the solution. There's a lot of stuns on VP as well, so maybe Orchid is the better solution to prevent one of them from happening if he finds any of those heroes. Like, he can kill Selena fine without Orchid, but Shadow Shaman is much, much harder.
Very true. Smoke rotation from VP. Man. Oh, there's just that little gap the Razor can walk through. And unfortunately for the Dire side, the Fissure didn't stun, so another wasted smoke from Virtus Pro that yields nothing.
If they placed this Observer Ward just a little bit more down, they would have known exactly where the Razor was and they would have killed him. Maybe they did this on purpose because it's very far away from this D-Ward spot here, but I haven't seen anybody check that spot in the TI or during TI here because it's just too obvious.
Yeah. It's interesting how ward mind games work, where you need to find these really interesting places, but sometimes going back to the obvious spots will throw people off guard because they're so obvious.
Yeah, surely they wouldn't put a ward there because they would expect me to de-ward that, therefore. Team fight coming from EHOME. Everybody's TPing in, but it looks like they figured it out. They're escaping, actually. Lil running. He's got a TP.
Oh, no. G and Lil, they're going to get caught. Lanham around the backside. ROTK as well. Icarus dive across. They're going to get Lil, and they want G as well. Can they actually dive this and finish him off? Nope, he's just too fast.
Yeah, he's way gone. No way they're going to get him.
So just a 1-0. They get the Lina. For the most part, good news for VP. They cut their losses, and they get the tower kill. Rasta wards are able to finish him off. So Lina for a tier 1 tower. Not the best trade, but it is still a trade.
They do get the ward behind the tower. Pretty obvious that that would be down. As somebody takes a tower, the supports often rotate behind and drop the ward. So very common to check for that one. And DDC is able to get it. On the bright side for VP, the tower's already gone, so they didn't lose a huge amount by losing that. and they also destroy the tower. They didn't even... Oh, they did use the Shadow Shaman wards.
Yep.
And that's what they got to do. They've got to use this cooldown when it's off cooldown, and they got to use it to take towers.
Yeah, all the while, Anti-Mage did get a little bit of space to farm there, and he has a Perseverance now, 1,000 gold, so it looks like he'll be able to get this Battle Fury at pretty decent timing.
It's late. It's definitely late. He's supposed to have it at
decent.
like 12, 13 minutes, and he's...
Well, even with Treads first?
Yeah, definitely. Even with Treads first. Fissura's going to block in YJ, but Creep Wave's cleared. He had an Invis there. He was hoping he would come for it, but nothing. Also, Earthshaker's very close to his Blink Dagger here.
Ooh, Mech coming out on the Razor. Wow, he's...
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Earthshakers can just do so much when they get this kind of farm early on. A 15, 16-minute Blink Dagger. Such a good timing.
It's pretty good versus EHOME too, because it'll give him a pretty good setup and chain stun for Storm Spirit. He does pick up a point booster, so we will be going Bloodstone first.
Okay.
So I guess they're just not going to worry too much about the anti-mage. He is already moderately shut down. Like, I would say slightly shut down. He's slightly shut down right now. His Battle Fury is going to be delayed by like 4 or 5 minutes.
It's recoverable for him, though, I think.
It is, definitely.
Dire's
But
middle tower is under attack.
normally, if an anti-mage has a Battle Fury at 12 minutes, he can get his Yasha in the next like 4 or something like that. And if Storm Spirit's at this point now, then it's looking kind of scary, because he's going to be able to get Manta, and then if there's a stun, Blink, Manta, then Storm Spirit just kind of dies. But because they shut down that anti-mage, I think Storm's okay going for the Bloodstone build.
Okay.
He doesn't have to worry as much about losing all of his mana. It just comes down his way.
Both cooldowns connect on CTY. And that will delay their push, so let us go grab these runes. RTK completes his Midas 16 minutes in. That's a pretty good timing for the Phoenix. Core item on her, whatever it is. Need to get that level 16 maxed out Supernova ASAP.
It helps a lot. Maybe not even 16, but even each subsequent level at a certain time period in the game is really important. Because it's completely scaled based on the average attacks that a team is going to be able to get. And Supernova 5 attacks, not very much, but once you bump that up to 8 instantly or really rapidly and they don't expect that, then sometimes you're just like, oh wow, I thought I could kill that, but now I actually can't kill that, and I'm in a bad spot. And the gold as well is nice. Phoenix's farming methods are a little weak, so being able to just power level into like a Shiva's or other utility item is really nice.
Lanham coming in to try and set up on Illidan. Can they find him with the shackles, or telekinesis rather? Yes, they can. YJ doing some decent damage. Lanham will be able to finish him off with the stolen Blink. Nice gank there, and continuing to slow down the progression towards that Battle Fury. Still not able to buy it, holding on to all that unreliable gold.
Probably should have blinked it in the trees there. I guess he wasn't expecting Rubik to be able to blink after him, but I mean, it's very easy at that point, so I think he was just a little worried. He almost didn't make that, really.
Tier 1 tower, mid lane goes down. CTY gets credit for the kill, and up top, Razor will finish off that tower. VP starting to lose some of their access points here, and EHOME jumping right back into the lead as they take map control.
It's looking like an EHOME victory at this point, at least. They definitely have the advantage. Their Observer wards are aggressive. I mean, VP has 1 down currently, but that's about it. And VP's items aren't scaling nearly as well. The Battle Fury delay on Anti-Mage means that it's just going to delay his Battle Fury, which will delay how well he's able to split push later. Like, you can't get a Battle Fury at the same time as the Storm gets a Bloodstone. It's just so dangerous.
Yeah, because that's the time when Storm can really get aggressive. Also farm very effectively.
Yeah, he might even finish his Orchid before the Anti-Mage has his Diffusal Blade. And if that's the case, I just don't see VP winning this game.
Or before the Manta, rather.
Oh, yeah. What did I say?
Diffusal Blade.
Yeah, I have no idea why I said that.
So I don't think I've ever seen an Anti-Mage buy a Diffusal, but...
The wrong choice. Definitely the wrong choice.
Yeah, well, Phobos, we'll see what he can do with his Blink Dagger. Still haven't really seen him get that active, even though he picked it up just a couple minutes ago. The Gyro, he's going for the SNY build. No mech on VP, and they are just not really in fighting shape here. Looks like a rotation on DDC. Could be coming down this way, but Lanham's right there. Telekinesis onto Lil, pulling back in. Do they have any follow-up damage? Yeah, they sure do. CTY's here, zipping all around. LSA off the mark, hard to connect. Lil just barely lives. Nope, goes down. Laguna connects on CTY, but just tickles as he bottles through it. Double damage rune on, but Phobos will live.
Gets a Bloodstone charge out of that. Not terrible for Storm. He would have liked the double kill, but just a little too tough against Earthshaker when he's got Tranquil Boots.
Up top, ROTK and FNG going at it. There, the ward. Shackles, solo kill for the support on Virtus Pro.
Let's get the courier too. Oh, right away. 14 HP. And had a gem on it too. If he would have gotten that kill, that would have been insane.
Oh my, yeah, that would have been huge.
Just imagine if he ganked a little bit later there, and he would have transferred the gem to himself. Like,
that would have been a huge loss. 19 minutes in, just hand the gem over right away.
Yeah, to the team that's losing. That's a mistake, definitely.
That is one sure way to get the other team back into that game. Just hand them a free gem on a silver platter. EHOME have a decent lead, but nothing that's insurmountable. Only 3K net worth, 2K experience. Yang here with his mech complete, just about 1,000 gold away from his BKB. Nice well-rounded Razor build here, very combative. Makes a lot of sense based on how EHOME have been approaching this game so far.
Either way, that solo kill by FNG is really important because he normally plays the super defensive role, and if he can somehow greed out something like a Blink Dagger, it's really going to up their ability to kill heroes like Storm and initiate properly. So I really feel like he has to get a Blink this game. Like, Shadow Shaman is not a very good hard support 5 in my opinion. Ooh, can they set up for this Phoenix? They saw him grab the invis. No, he's not going aggressive. He's playing it safe.
Yeah. He's not quite level 11 yet, though.
Yeah,
I think part of the reason why he'll continue to be a little more passive, at least till he hits that point.
And you can't really just grab it from a rune spot and run into the enemy danger zone. Because if they have a ward up, they see you and you die consistently. So I think that's why they didn't even bother going. They're like, there's no way he's going to be that stupid. It works in pubs, but it does not work in games like these.
Yeah. Smoke rotation up top from VP. CTY might get caught out here. He breaks the smoke on about half the heroes and just walks away. Take a look at their intel here. Drops the Remnant for some extra vision. VP just can't get these smoke ganks to work this game, Pert. Yeah. That's the third failed smoke.
They probably should have led with Earthshaker, but even still, finding that kill was tough. They didn't have vision. Oh, actually, they just placed this Observer Ward down.
Yep.
Probably after the storm. So that's a bit unfortunate. If that ward was there, they would have had him.
Well, VP will find a very minor victory in the bottom lane as they deny that tier 1 tower and repel the push. Big TP rotation. Rocket set up here onto Yang. He'll try to TP home. That's unfortunate. Okay. And I think that's just a dead Razor. That's...
He can't even mech now with his mana drain.
Oh no, he gets off the Eye of the Storm, but the rest of his team just leaves him high and dry. They hide in the tree line. They try to TP home.
There's a lot of dead trees here. Can they find him?
Illidan gets credit for that one. ROTK doesn't have the Icarus dive up for another 15.
He doesn't have Hex. 3 seconds. That's a dead ROTK.
There's nothing he could do. Even if he gets off the Supernova there, he's going down no matter what. Still not level 11. 2-for-0 exchange here. VP, that's pretty solid. 2 kills they didn't have before, as now Illidan has his Battle Fury and progress towards a Yasha.
A bit of a painful TP from the Razor, I dare say.
Yeah. I guess it is nighttime, so he just didn't see the rocket get cast, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. He did get the reflected damage. I don't know. I'm observing, so it's easy to see. But if you're playing, you just miss stuff like that sometimes. And he casted his TP, and then he saw the missile coming, then he canceled it and started running, and bam. The mana drain and no mech for him, and his survivability goes drastically down. That's actually something that's pretty significant and might influence fights. If Anti-Mage does go on Razor, drains his mana, and they don't get the mech off, that's 2,300 gold item. That's an overpriced chainmail. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, Razor is one of those heroes that does have some mana issues. Mech is about a third of his mana pool, so if he just does a full rotation of his spells, doesn't give you a hell of a lot left to work with. Yeah. Roche falls in favor of VP. The Aegis goes the way of the Anti-Mage, and putting those Rost awards to good use, as we talked about in the draft. Definitely one advantage that this support brings to the table is Roche on control. Looks like FNG maybe just going for a 4-staff here as he picks up the Staff of Wizardry. Could also be the Yules to get those ward traps going.
I think it's going to be a 4-staff, probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
He doesn't... I mean, I don't know how good his ward traps are. If it was Lil, he does not need a Yules to get the ward trap. FNG might not be as practiced as on Shadow Shaman. He's playing it fine, though. But I think it's going to be a force to help save people that get pulled by the Storm. If you can at least limit the amount of static remnants that they get hit by, it is some damage, and it forces Storm to ball a little bit more. It's kind of like wasting Storm's mana a slight amount. And same with anybody that gets out of position. They're going to get lifted by Rubik, and sometimes the force might be the difference between them living or not.
Yeah. CTY now very close to his Orchid. He's got both Oblivion staffs and about 300 gold to spare. Great news there. Looks like it'll be a pretty good timing against the Anti-Mage, who still is nowhere close to the Manta.
Illidan can definitely recover, though. I mean, he got that kill against the Razor.
Yep. He's number 2 on net worth now. I mean, that's a big jump relative to where he was 5 minutes ago.
But Anti-Mage's advantage is also staying way far ahead of your opponents in terms of farm, since his base stats are pretty weak, his strength gain is horrible, and he doesn't have very much disable. So, you know, he's definitely a little bit weak here. 1.2 strength per level is almost nothing.
Yeah. It's very true. VP grouped up here. Could be a little skirmish around this bottom room. Both teams with a lot of reinforcements inbound. But they will just disengage here. They've not lost the gem either. Picked up ROTK. Lanham just carrying this baby around, trying to get some vision control for the team. Only one observer ward down for the Dire, or two rather. One down bottom and then one in their jungle here. Not a huge amount of intel for VP around the map.
Anti-Mage finding Storm Spirit. Or it's the Orchid on CTY though.
Yeah. This is scary. Oh, then pokes up. He sees it, goes, I don't know if I want to go on that. Instead, they jump on the FNG. Orchid deployed. That should be a kill on the Shadow Shaman. The Soulburn finishes him off, but CTY just gets blasted by the Laguna call down. Yang comes in. Static Link is on, draining what damage he can. Only plus 56. And it looks like this will be just a 1-for-1. Long-range Splinter Blast. Vex on G. But EHOME kind of on the back foot here. Yang just in the front lines, kind of poking at him. But now the dunk from Phobos does some good damage. Winter's Curse deployed in return. BKB deployed by Yang. He'll stay in the front lines. Now they want to turn it around. Illidan reinitiates, but there's the Supernova to do some extra damage. Yang loses the BKB. CTY's back. And they'll finish off the Anti-Mage. He does have the Aegis of the Immortal to become a slight back. And the Orchid right away. CTY, what a player. They lock him down and make it a great fight for the Radiant. There was a buyback on the Rubik to make that happen. The Storm did not need to buy back. It's just those Bloodstone charges that allowed him to respawn so quickly.
Yeah, they had to be more cognizant of the fact that he was going to respawn fast. And it's tough. You get a kill and you're like, oh my god, we killed the Storm, the guy that's really difficult to kill. And you think you can stay around and fight because things look alright. But look, he just jumps back in and respawns. Might be able to kill FNG. Still got up Force. He gets killed in one pull duration. And all of a sudden, because they forgot about that Storm, they're losing kill after kill after kill. Aegis and Refresh on Anti-Mage. The Aegis and his second life on Anti-Mage. They've lost Lina. They've lost Shadow Shaman a second time. All because they weren't mindful of that cooldown. And it's so important to look up, but it's so difficult to have that fundamental thing about Dota changed in your mind where, wow, somebody respawns really fast and you don't hear the buyback sound.
Yeah. Well, VP handing over a bit more than they intended to in the aftermath of that first skirmish. CTY does let the Gyro get away, instead goes for the free kill on FNG, and then ultimately finishes off Lil as well. They get that tier 2 tower mid and gives them the gold game to be right back where they were, about 4K or so, net worth lead, 3K experience. ROTK now level 13, 2,300 gold. We'll start seeing some items pop onto this Phoenix. Probably Shiva's Guard, pretty core item on this hero. Always good to have against an Anti-Mage, Gyro, Lina, all these auto-attacking heroes.
You might think it's bad because it increases his mana pool, but it also really decreases the attack speed of his illusions.
Yes.
Like Anti-Mage doesn't buy that many agility items usually unless he goes for like a butterfly. And if he skips that, then his illusions are basically just at his base agility and the Manta style. So, oops, silence on Illidan now. He may end up dying right off a fissure.
Oh yeah, I think the Soulburn could be enough. They've even got the Winter's Curse there to make sure he's locked down. Nothing Illidan could do. Even had the fissure from his friendly Earthshaker there. Not enough.
It was kind of poor positioning, I think. He was very close to a tier 1 tower. They may have been going into the jungle anyways to go find him and kill him. So, again, he goes down. Still doesn't have an ultimate orb.
Wards in the mid lane deployed on the tower. FNG will get the tower kill. CTY wants to continue the chase, but just can't quite do it. Now running low on mana. Lil on the high ground, left behind, but the Fiery Spirits will miss, and they will no longer pursue.
Oh, and the Ward's got the tower?
Yep.
That's pretty good for VP there. I mean, the Storm will get the last hits, but that one was a lot, 38.
Yeah, that's a lot of gold, though. If you kill all of the Rasta Wards, that's as much as a hero kill.
Yeah, it's about 250 at least.
Yeah.
They're about 28 to 35.
So, I guess given the position VP is in, every little bit helps, but definitely not coming for free.
Yep, definitely not. So Shadow Shaman up to 700 gold. BKB's up on Gyrocopter, so he's ready to fight. Anti-Mage not ready to fight. At this point, Anti-Mage should have Manta, maybe a BKB, maybe his third item, maybe halfway through his third item, and he still doesn't have his ultimate orb even. He needs the Manta to be survivable against the Orchid, and those early ganks for EHOME completely put a kink in VP's plans.
Yep, no doubt about it. And now EHOME is just in control of this game. There's the plate mount out on ROTK. DDC's been able to pick up the Glimmer Cape on Winter Wyvern. And Yang probably just moving into an Assault Karas, given that Phoenix already has a plate mail as well.
Storm's just running around like crazy here, doing super aggressive things. He's got 11 Bloodstone charges, so pretty good mana.
Yeah, CTY's feeling good this game. He's had a pretty good showing so far. 6-1-3 in 28 minutes rather. Only a few outer towers remaining here for VP. If you look at Radiant Vision, they've only got a couple wards down, but pretty aggressive. One lane ward here in the mid, and then one down bottom. They will start to pressure this bottom tier 1 and VP, or bottom tier 2 as VP move into the tier 1 up top. Looks like they'll be able to finish this off and maybe even come back to mounted defense.
I think a trade is okay here for VP. They're already far behind. They can't really take a team fight. Storm could very easily just outplay them and make everything really terrible. They have to get the Manta done, and they're very close now. EHOME drawn on the map, they know where they're at, and there's the traded tower. Razor gets the kill, and now they're TPing back. That's Rubik first.
Okay.
Razor next. They drop the wards, and they're out.
Glyph used by EHOME. Manta now picked up by Anti-Mage. So that definitely makes a big difference here. Yang will just come in and try and clear up these wards.
No.
Just a fissure.
It's too dangerous, honestly, because all that has to happen is Phoenix dives forward, casts Fire Spirits and ultis, and then VP has to either kill the egg instantly or they have to retreat. And at that point, they're already committed.
Yeah.
So absolutely not safe to go in on that, especially he's got BKB. If you stop the chain stun, you definitely lose the fight.
And now, speaking of BKB, CTY completes his, coming out on the courier right now. Storm's continuing to get momentum. 16K net worth. Quite a big bump over that of the Anti-Mage, the leading farmer here for VP. Even the Gyro as well. G isn't farming poorly, but not particularly well either. Now moving into a Morbid Mask. Probably that HOD, eventually a Satanic. It still has a ways to go before he really gets scary.
Yeah, his HP is a bit low for the Storm as well, because Storm's damage is very largely magical, so even grabbing a Helm of the Dominator doesn't help that much versus him.
Yeah.
So most of the time he's just kind of hopping around and evading damage, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. Phobos also gets his Force Staff completed here. So more mobility for him.
That's really good for an Earthshaker, especially against the Storm Spirit. If he gets Orchided, he's going to have a solution to himself. He doesn't have to worry about the supports to save him. Lina actually working towards a Yule's still far, though. Staff. Sage's Mask is missing about 1,400 gold or so. That'll be really good against Storm, because oh, never mind. Storm is a BKB.
Yep.
It's useless. He can use himself, I guess. Phobos might run into the enemy team, breaks their smokes. He gets the blink away really nicely down there. I don't know if he was trying to break smokes, but I feel like I keep seeing the really mobile heroes doing that. They move. Moon Meander did that a couple times as well. He moves towards where the opponents are, stands on the high ground, waits till he breaks the smoke, and then blinks away, because that's such a big advantage. It's like the difference between... You basically gamble with your life at like a 30 to 40% chance of dying, but you also, if you do die, it's only one hero, instead of potentially forcing your team to take a bad team fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to commit to those fights, and if you just break the smoke, it just lets your team continue to play passive and potentially outfarm your opponents.
Definitely a positive expected value for those kind of singleton breaking smoke plays. Now Blink Dagger on the Rubik. This has definitely turned into a more passive game here. Both sides just kind of sitting back and farming. CTY looking for opportunities to pick up ganks, but not being hyper aggressive here and not taking any undue risk for the most part, just dropping remnants as he goes. Also controlling runes pretty effectively. I do worry that EHOME are giving this Anti-Mage just a little too much space to recover. They've done a good job shutting him down, but they need to keep this up.
There's the 10-second BKB, it's gone. Oh, he messes up the ball.
Oh,
he has the suicide. Ooh, that's pretty big. He loses some Bloodstone charges. That means he respawns slower next time. Each Bloodstone charge reduces the respawn time by 4 seconds. So if he loses about 6 there, that's pretty big. That's like 24 seconds. 24 seconds is massive in the early game. That's the difference, and especially because they have so many towers up that he could actually TP close to a team fight. So a little bit of a greedy play there, and VP sitting around S5 completely pays off there. 10-second BKB, and he loses a bunch of charges.
Yep. Shivas comes out on ROTK, so still item progression for EHOME. But they need to be a little careful here. Maybe they're waiting for the Assault Kuros to be finished. Well, there it is. Comes out onto Yang. They do have this kind of trio of core items not completed. Illidan, he pops the Manta.
Ooh,
tries to run back, but yeah, the Winter's Curse is there after the telekinesis. Now they'll follow up with plenty of damage, or is it? Stolen Blink. Scoot. He'll end up going down regardless. Double Force Staff, still not enough. TP home from the Shadow Shaman will keep him alive. Again,
Illidan is just a little bit too close to the battle, and he gets killed yet another time. It's how many deaths now? 6 deaths on him.
3 and
Very
6,
uncharacteristic for him on Anti-Mage. He's got to feel tilted. The early pressure was huge. His battle fear is delayed, but he keeps pushing up too far, and that's consistently where he's dying.
Well, Roshan respawn now. This is Rosh number 2 with Anti-Mage in the grave. EHOME should feel pretty comfortable here. VP did get the last Rosh pretty easily. Looking at Dire Vision, they have absolutely no wards down. This early gem pickup from EHOME is really working out well, and they will not be able to contest this. Aegis will most likely go to Storm here. I guess well, actually, no. Yang has the open inventory slot. No, so does CTY.
Yeah,
I mean, Storm is like the best Aegis carrier. I can't imagine giving it to the Razor.
Especially because he's very easily killed by an anti-mage ulti. If he overextends his mana a little bit and his BKB's gone, bam, he gets blown up.
Yeah.
Very oftentimes with the rest of his team, but if it's just him by himself and he respawns with full mana and the mana void's down, then all of a sudden, like, you look at the enemy team and there's nothing they have to worry about, really.
Yeah. So EHOME, they've got pretty much everything they need here. Purge, Shiva's, AC, BKB on the Storm. I think they should try a smoke rotation or something. Stay aggressive, and while they're drawing some lines on the mini-map, looks like they may take heed to that advice.
It's probably going to be a Razor push out the lane while everybody else smokes behind and eventually gets there and sets up.
It feels like a good time to strike with Illidan still struggling to get his footing.
Yeah, once he gets his heart, things will be a bit easier, or the Reaver, that is. It's 500 HP, so it'll make a big deal. We'll see if he stacks this one here. Might just kill it in time. Oh yeah, he's got the damage.
Oh yeah, baby.
So that's a triple stack of Ancients. He'll be happy with that one. And that should be his Reaver then when he completes it. Somebody's close. It's CTY, actually. Really bad for Phobos. Forces doesn't get high ground. A second Force Staff. Okay.
Makes it up.
Usually he doesn't make those mistakes, but didn't quite make it.
Close call. ROTK very close to level 16. They may want to try delaying this fight until they get that upgraded Supernova and strike right when that baby's at its peak.
I don't even think he's a threat, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, killing the Supernova is good and all, but their biggest important thing is keeping their supports alive to Storm and not letting Anti-Mage die either. The Reaver's up, though, so he's got about 2200 HP, much needed HP. And if things go perfect for VP, Anti-Mage would take a ton of damage, get his ulti off, and then blink out. And then they should be able to win the fight afterwards, easily. Glimmer Cape on FNG as well. This guy's got items. What's going on?
The Dream. Have the Storm blow his full mana pool, get that big mana void, win the fight.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, see if Illidan can pull it off.
He's got a whole 3k gold, though, so that'll start him slowly, maybe not so slowly, on his Sheepstick, most likely, because extra disables versus Anti-Mage is the way to go.
Always
two
good.
options.
Yeah.
Same goes for the supports. If you just hex the Earthshaker, he can't Force Staff himself.
Not bad to have against the Gyro as well. He still has that 10-second BKB. If you can catch him with a hex before he gets off that magic immunity, makes shutting him down a lot easier. Razor moving into the Aghanims, it looks like, has the point booster already.
I like it.
A little bit of tower sieging.
I like it versus Anti-Mage too. Lower his armor. He's a little bit weak to physical, and he doesn't have that many agility items, so his armor is actually not that high right now.
Yeah, reduces the strike interval as well, so it does stack up the minus armor a little more.
And quickly. Better for pushing, so hits buildings. All very good things for it, especially since they do plan to siege their opponents soon. Since they do have the gold advantage and they have all their core items.
Yeah.
Medallion Phoenix.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it's all about the siege at this point, and all these new items help do that. I mean, not that Medallion hasn't always been in the game, but it was only recently that you're able to cast it on your allies and eventually upgrade it to a Solar Crest, so it scales a little bit better into the late game. Isn't as big of a waste of an item slot.
Yeah. All right, 2 minutes left on the Aegis here. Now is the time, EHOME. They've been sitting back, farming up these core items. They secured Roach. They still have the gem. Here we go. Jump in onto Illidan. They'll hit him with the Orchid. Now the pull. Can they just finish him off before the fight even really starts? The Force Staff doing so much work here, but
he's gonna die.
So much disable. The telekinesis to finish him off as Lana blinks in aggressively. Phobos gets off his ulti before he dies, but it's looking to be rough for Virtus Pro. They'll lose their Phoenix on the side of EHOME, but a 1-for-3 triple kill for CTY. They start sieging this high ground.
And he spent everything to buy the HP items to try to survive there, and they almost got it with all the Force Staffs, but Storm just had too much mana there, and they had too many stuns. They even burned the Winter's Curse on it, consistently using it just for a 3-second stun on Anti-Mage.
No buybacks on any of these dead heroes. At least one lane of Rax, if not two. EHOME may just back out.
But and now they're going to have an Ags on Razor. Anti-Mage still doesn't have his heart. It's so rare that you see an AM with gold disadvantage in a game, but when that does happen, it's just so tough to win. And Gyro is going to take a while to be really a strong carry as well. Yeah, he needs like an item or two, and he's played well 2, 1, and 5, but Gyrocopter can't move around and get solo kills on some of these heroes, so he's kind of limited in what he can do, basically.
Not much VP can do here besides watch their mid lane of Barracks fall. Melee Barracks still standing, and that's where EHOME will choose to retreat. Still a huge siege there, and looking at this gold graph, oh yeah, just a skyrocket in favor of EHOME. About 14k net worth, 14k XP. Things looking very rough for Virtus Pro at this point.
So there's the Ags on the Razor. I doubt he'll go for a refresher here. He could though, because you could refresh his BKB. Might just be better off. Let's see what he could get. MKB might be alright. even something like a Desolator, I don't think would be bad at all, because he's already got AC, he's got an Axe, he's got a lot of minus armor. Why not just further counter the anti-mage? If he has a Deso, and this guy's not even close to a Butterfly in AM, if he just goes like minus armor here, he's just gonna, he gets solo the anti-mage easily.
That's a really interesting point, actually. Stacking minus armor against an anti-mage forced into this build, you brought it up a few times, but his agility is really not that high. You think about Eye of the Storm and then a Desolator on top of that, all of a sudden this anti-mage is in single digits of armor. Not so tanky after all.
Trying to catch somebody, they have vision.
Here we go, long range zip from CTY, hops in onto Lil, self-fuel's there, but they'll use the Winter's Curse again onto Illidan. Static Link taking some of his damage, he will blink back, but CTY on the hunt trying to finish him off, will be able to do it, still no buyback for the anti-mage, a fast 2 for nil. They also killed the Lina, now they go on to G. On the bottom side here, Lana and Phobos just duking it out, and it looks like Lana may win this battle. Nice blink to the side to juke the Echo, or the Totem rather, but now the Fissure comes out, doesn't matter. Yang comes in and breaks up that party nice and quick. VP will hang in here till the bitter end, but it feels like a GG could be on the horizon here, Purge.
Yeah, the vision advantage versus VP is just too much, in addition to the fact that they have gold advantage. And if VP can't start the fight in a favorable way, there's absolutely no way that they'll win this match. And I just feel like they didn't get enough value out of their Lina this game. It's so tough versus Storm, and there's been so many games where VP just get last pick Stormed, and they're like, oh, we have to play against a Storm now? That's not fun. Yeah. We don't want to do that. And it just forces them into fights they don't want to take, and their support just can't do what they want to. It's tough.
Well, great game from EHOME. We talked about it. They needed a win in this series to even have a chance at moving up to the top 4. And if they can go 2-0 over Virtus Pro, things are looking really good. That secures them at least 8 points, officially puts them in the top 4 for now, but there's still more games to be played in this group. Vici Gaming